This is what I get for being a little off. Gotta freaking scramble to fix all this links we put up. So my dad fancied that we were refrigerator repairmen today. What that resulted in was putting a gasket on a refrigerator door at noon, struggling with it till about 4 p.m. to try to figure out why it wasn't sealing, and then giving up. All on Dataslate day, which I gotta tell you, timing couldn't be worse. Because we could have gone really in depth with the Dataslate. But I'm just out here trying to catch up with my Demon Prince with Wings paints. That's what I'm saying. But this shouldn't take long, actually. The plan for this is actually quite quick. It mostly comes down to which fluorescent colors we want, and then a little bit of fixing in some spots. I might need to go back in with some white on the weapons edges, depending on which fluorescence we choose for the bodies. Speaking of which fluorescence do you guys want to see these as? They're going to end up being kind of like all fluorescent except their armor. Their armor is going to be gold, purple, and white. So I want to stay away from the purple fluorescent because it's not even a real fluorescent in the first place. It's kind of like a half fluorescent. Doesn't react at all to black light. Blue, magenta, pink, orange, yellow, orange, green, and I think chartreuse. I think I want to try to do the weapons as green to chartreuse, but I am not adverse to doing the whole thing in chartreuse and then trying to do like the core green. Well, that's the thing. We have two of them. So we can kind of like pick and choose. We can make both of them the same. Or do 1 and 1. I'm kind of cool either way on that. Because we have different weapons on both. So I can easily discern which one's which. Depending on if enhancements or something matters. Yeah, we made little milliput tactical rocks, which is nice. Get the music going again. Angry workout mix. Go. Specifically for the Twitch fam. Since I know all the tips and tricks about avoiding DMCA on Twitch for now. These do make for good demon princes. But what do we all think about the Dataslate? Apparently what I was told about the flat damage on the Lords of Change and Kairos, that was true. That being the only change was a little sad, but it is what it is. I mean, that's fine. You don't have to care about it. It is in the healthiest state it's ever been. It took them that long to figure out that maybe the Scintillating Legion should be affected by the 1,000 Sun spells. Not when the 1,000 Sun spells were good. But after they basically nerfed the 1,000 Sun spells into a point where you can't really play, assuming you're going to use them. So that was super fun. I ran the math, though. Yeah, it's the only way it makes them work. Because, okay, it almost doesn't matter, because the spells don't persist into other turns. So at most you're getting a double move, which... Like, what are you going to use that on that matters? Flamers? Things that have the same strength and really not much else as rubrics. The AP +1 is great when you're using pinks that are close enough to a Lord of Change to give them strength 5 on their attacks, but that's literally it. You don't get any of the benefits for the best unit that you can get out of that crossover, which is Screamers. You only get the benefit in melee, and melee is unaffected by basically everything. And that's the thing. Kairos and Lord of Change need it. They needed it. As a person who heavily used the Lords of Change and Kairos in that detachment, watching them kill nothing, like Space Marine, you AOC, guess what? Your Lord of Change is meaningless. Like, it's not enough damage. Not only that, but it was like random damage. So it was cool. It's cool when you roll into like a 2-wound model and you have 4 wounds on them. And then you roll a 1, and then a 2, and then a 1, and then a 2. And you only kill 2 models despite doing enough damage to kill like 3. It's a good feeling. And now that you can give them at least AP1 for a reduction, because you got to remember, you got to cast it. You have to cast that spell. If that spell fails, you don't get it. So you have to get the at least 1 AP extra. That way you basically can take benefit of cover built in for a Lord of Change, which means you can go to lethal if you need to. It's a lot of crap that has to happen, and most of it might not happen. So, like, it's not that big of a deal versus armies that get full rerolls and pluses to wound and all that stuff. Things that are just so built to be perfect. All right. Yeah, they lowered them because, I mean, everyone likes to do MSU rubrics. Which, I mean, it's kind of the way to go. It used to be a better way to go just because you could make multiple attempts at multiple spells, but I think we're almost at the point now in Thousand Suns where you don't want to take too many leaders. You just take a bunch of rubrics and Terminators and stuff. At least with the Terminators, taking a Lord in them is a really good idea. But the amount of people I do see in, like, the subreddits and the forums who are like, oh, man, AP3 Flamers. That's so strong. It's like, do you know you have to go uphill to get those AP3 Flamers? Do you know you get one shot at getting those AP3 Flamers, and you might not even get the AP2 variant? Talking about things like they happen guaranteed. Pshaw. Where'd my dump cup go? Yeah, like, we just don't have an army roll at that point. Oh, it's right here. What the fuck am I doing? Oh, no, the paint thinner. It's in my brain. Because, yeah, 2 dice. Like, two dice right now on a Kairos. If you don't get anywhere near, what is it, an 11? It's... I'm trying to remember. It's 2 same, and then 2 at 1 higher increment. So I think it's, what, 5, 5, 6, 7, and then, what, 10, 10, 11, 12? Let me check. I did write up a list, though, for, yeah, so it's 5, oh, it's 5, 6, 7, 9. I thought, oh, no, the 2 and then 2 increased were the enhanced. 10, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. You need a 12 to get AP2. 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 10, 11, 12. Like, you need a 10 to get full rerolls on 3 potential dice while having a decent shot at taking damage for yourself. Mono God. I mean, any of it's, like, playable. It's just how you want to play it. I think, what, most people lean into, I want to say, like, Slanesh and maybe Khorne with a little bit of Thousand Suns. And if you go Warriors, you can swap them. But Plague is nice just because it's, like, durable for Nurgle stuff. It's super durable. But you lose the adaptability because, like, if you're trying to like win games, having a guy who can run across the field at 7-inch for move is nice. Having maybe some or some Zinch marks and some Nurgle marks to kind of sit midfield and back is nice. Khorne is great for clapback because they can just run in and just annihilate something, especially if it's like a butcher. All right, let me grab my fluorescence. So we got, like, orange, we got pink, we've got my new magenta we just purchased. I think this is yellow-orange. We got chartreuse, we got green, we got blue. think that's the bulk of it outside of purple, but we can't do purple. What's up, fat man? Let me grab... So the thematic idea for this is that I have one flying demon prince for the Thousand Suns, and he's kind of creating mirror images or summoning mirror images of himself to fight alongside him. It's kind of like the Zinchian thing. So let me grab him. Nice. This is their like source, I guess. He's mostly blue. He's got his teal wing backings. His magenta body. And yeah, he's supposed to kind of like be their core. Some of the idea is that once we get whatever colors are on them, like, together, I might get white ink on the weapons and then hit the weapons with chartreuse, since most of my weapons tend to be like a green or a chartreuse color. And then we have armor plates that are going to go on them. This is a helmet. I'll adjust it, Peacock. We got the chest plate armor. The little gemstone in it. But yeah. We gotta kind of pick. Problem is some of the weapons the primer is bubbling up on when it really shouldn't be. Problem of doing this in different temperatures and consistencies. Flat surfaces tends to roll off on. Might actually do a little bit more white. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, most of the data slates, most of everything revealed today was kind of meh. It didn't really change too much of my opinion on things. They did lower the points value of Enlightened, though. Which, let me read you this. This is my list. This isn't quite 2,000 points. Well, okay. So, rather than make our army more interesting, what I think Games Workshop is doing is making our best optional units more accessible. Because doing missions with 3-man squads of Spear Enlightened, easy mode. Doing screening with multiple squads of archers while still having good outfield potential for damage, pretty good. Like, those are our best options. There's a reason why the Scarab Occult Terminators didn't change in value despite being the core of most people's lists now. But yeah, we start out with 3 Exalted Sorcerers on discs. These will all be put into the 3 full-size squads of Zangor Enlightened with Fatecaster Great Bows. We then also have 3 Shaman that will all be going into the 3 Zangor Enlightened squads with spears. And then 3 full-size squads of Screamers. This is all I've put into this list. That is it. This is what I've been calling the Flesh Bike list. It is 1560 right now out of 2K. So there's some room to throw like a Lord of Change or something in here, I think. Because I want to say you get 1,000 points of demons, and I've only used... How much is this? 2, 180, 480. I've only used 480. So yeah, we got room for a Lord of Change, or a Kairos if we want Vectora and an Indirect. And a command point generation, which is always good. Because there's not a lot in here for the Lord of Change to help with in terms of damage output, because there's no psychic melee weapons that he affects. But the whole gist of this is sort of jail, but not really. Like, it's just not jail enough, is how I'll put it. The idea is you have the 3 sorcerers, or the 3 shaman with the Zangor Enlightened, running in alongside Screamers. And if your opponent is dumb enough to move far forward, you're going to get a lot of move over mortals, followed abruptly by charge mortals from the shaman squads. Then the shamans allow the Enlightened to all hit on 3s, I think, is the statting for them. Which is a bit better, especially with Lance and Strength 5. Like, it's not the worst. It's not great. But if you're going into, like, vehicles and stuff, that's what your Screamers are for anyway. But yeah, these guys just go in. And then if you're fighting an army that's like, oh, I'm going to fall back and shoot, the benefit you get is that the, as long as you keep the Screamers within range of the Zangor Enlightened, they all have 4+ invulnerables against shooting. And that's it. Like, there's kind of the limit to the army. Something fun you can do is force enemies to attack your demons instead of you, but these are all, like, super expensive. I think that's the Deceptive Glamour upgrade. Yeah, that's super expensive. I think the main thing is to just constantly use Sulfur Veil, like, on key units every single turn. Sulfur Veil can be used in the shooting phase and the fight phase, so you can use it technically twice a turn, I think. It's just -1 to hit to everyone in the squad. But yeah, that's my my Flesh Bike list, which I kind of want to put together. Right now, we only have 1 full-size squad of bows and 1 full-size squad of spears. We need 2 more of each. And then 3 Screamers to finish out all my Screamers. Yeah, I kind of miss the Changeling. I get that you don't want to add too many named characters, but, like, Kairos was the obvious for us to get. I would have actually been more accepting if we got like smaller ones, but not Kairos. I would have been like, oh yeah, I kind of get that. Like, I feel like the big ones, like Scarbrand or Kairos or whatever, probably need to only be in the Demons Codex. But I think a lot of people are assuming that the Demons Codex might fade out. Then the named demon characters that we all know will only be in AOS. And that going forward in 11th edition, you won't be able to play like full demons. And Be'lakor will probably get moved over to CSM. Because they've kind of already made Be'lakor CSM. I mean, the detachments he has access to are just like, yo, you want to use a bunch of Chaos Space Marines? Can we interest you in a hefty helping of Chaos Space Marine Havocs and stuff? Yo, Changeling would be sick. I really wish I had access to the Changeling in Thousand Suns. I would have just... He'd be in every game. That thing writes stories for me that I like. I was playing against an Aldari player, and I tossed my Changeling in back for behind enemy lines. The only thing the Aldari player put next to it, because he assumed it would kill it, was a grav, like a Falcon grav tank. Or no, it was a Wave Serpent. And I was like, all right, top of your shooting phase, I'm gonna do the thing where I target you and I roll a dice and see what happens to your tank, because I figure I'll just give you -1 to hit or whatever. And I rolled a 6, so it couldn't even shoot. It was unable to target. Like, that thing changes the way the game is played. It's so cool. Definitely one of my favorites. All right, so we still don't know. Let's start. Let's try to like shrink the pool of what are we doing here. Let's start with the spear wielder. He'll be the one we actually use. Let me shut down the white balance a little bit. Get you guys less glare. So we're gonna do the spear wielder. He'll be the first one up for the chopping block here. Yeah, and he's especially cool with just general Thousand Sun units, too. Because the Blue Horrors reduce everyone's leadership around them within 6 inches by 1. So you just, like, flood that line with Blue Horrors. And then if a Changeling show up... It was always hilarious. I kind of want to start this. I'm thinking, where do we want to start? Do we want to start pink? Considering this guy is bulk blue fluorescent, what if we make it so that the bottom part down here and kind of leading up starts as blue, like he's kind of sending that energy through the world, and then he becomes like a version of a color, like we choose pink or something. So we can kind of start around the leg blue, go to pink, and then I'll have to be very careful with white ink to mark this up. And then we'll do chartreuse and green out here. Ion no? Or did you want to say I don't know? Fat Mans, what's going on? Anyone get anything for their armies that they're like, oh, dude, I'm super happy about this? I know my one buddy's interested in trying the Drakari Grotmist attachment. He doesn't know if it's going to be good or not, but it's whatever. Well, think of color as shape, fat man. Delve into the insanity. Maybe we do that. That way it kind of ties into each other. So we can do that to the other one as well. And then we'll do that one kind of top-down pink, and then we'll pick a different color for the other one, maybe? Maybe like an orange? Because if the weapons are going to be chartreuse and green, then that's kind of like the limit of what we've got going. So I'm saying this is a person who's mostly unhyped. Is anyone hyped about the Game Awards? Man, I'm looking forward to editing a news wave. Having to go through that entire goddamn award show. Gonna be super fun for me. Some good ones for fighting games. I always like fighting games. I feel like I like the idea of fighting games though more than like actually liking fighting games. Because I like finding a character I like, learning how to play him, getting really good at him. And then I kind of want to like play with people I know. So I'm like, oh, cool, I'm really good with Gen now. Who wants to play? And then everyone around me is just like, eh. I'm like, oh, I did all that work for nothing. Okay. It makes me a little sad. Because I do love playing fighting games. I think the last one I really enjoyed, I want to say, was Street Fighter 5. Specifically because I went over to my buddy's house for a week-long LAN party, and a person we knew that lived up in PA, like several hours away from us, came down to hang out for like the weekend. Or the week, rather. And we played a lot of Street Fighter 5. Like a lot. And then after that point, I bought Street Fighter 6. I learned a character in it like right off the rip. Played a little bit online, ranked up a bunch. I made a mistake there though. Cuz Street Fighter 6 tried a thing where it was like, "Yo, how well do you know Street Fighter?" I don't know if you played it or not, but they gave you like a questionnaire when you went into the online, based on trying to gauge your skill to try to figure out where to start you in terms of like opponent strength, which is, you know, decent. And I was like, I saw it and my first thought was, I wonder how this person I know named Sean, I wonder how he experiences games, because he does like talking about playing against very unskilled people and beating them. Like, he really enjoys that. So I basically told the game that I was brand new. And, it was bad. There were a couple flawless victories in there. And then it put me at, like, the bottom of... I think it ranked me up one tier. It was like, yeah, we'll just get you up one tier. And I was like, oh. And then I kept playing, and it was me just winning. And I was, at that point, I'm in my head, I'm like, oh, now I have to work really hard to get up to where I should actually be, and I don't like it. Alright, let's do pink. Let me move this guy far enough away that he won't get touched by it. So that kind of killed my interest in continuing to play. Or ruined it for myself. Let's do magenta. Yeah, it takes a while to go up a rank. Like, you have to win a bunch. So, I wasn't feeling that into, like, trying to undo my stupid little idea I had. So it kind of killed my interest. Not only that, but I wasn't interested like in any of the characters they were releasing for Street Fighter 5. Am I looking forward to games? Probably the only one I would be kind of interested in seeing right now is trying to think. Any information, which I don't think they're going to have. To be clear, this is probably not going to be there. Plague Tale. Originally, I thought Plague Tale was done, because if you played that last game, it was basically like, and that's the end of the story. I was like, whoa, okay. And I was kind of happy, like, that it didn't pull any punches when it ended. I was fine with it. And then they announced they were doing another game, and it was going to be kind of like a side story in the universe. Like, they're trying to expand the Plague Tale universe, which I like. Because the Plague Tale universe is kind of cool. It's sort of like creating supernatural phenomenon in human history as the rationale for why certain things happen. Like, sort of like secret history. And if you haven't heard about it and you're thinking of playing it, I kind of don't want to tell you more than that. Because getting into that game, I had some assumptions, but the assumption I had wasn't what was actually happening in the game. It actually kind of surprised me. Which is not easy with the kind of ADHD I have. Where I gotta kind of guess the ending of everything I watch as I'm watching it. I should probably ask Aaron what he's gonna want to play this weekend when he gets there on Saturday, supposedly. Make sure I take it with me. Max, if you're still in here, does Jack already have your stuff? Is he just going to play your stuff over the weekend? Or am I going to have to bring my Gene Stealer cult? Well, the weird thing about the Resident Evil stuff is, if it was going to be revealed at Game Awards that that's going to be the case, if you were trying to wait for the game to get released to be like, holy crap, he's in there, I don't know if you could have done that. Weren't people, like, kind of complaining that the character that they were using didn't feel like it was going to be a fun main character because she was, like, always afraid of everything? Hell yeah. So is he just going to play them then? Do I not have to bring anything for him? Well, Sony revealed it, but I feel like they were going to show it. They're probably going to show gameplay for him at the Game Awards. And let's be real, let's be very honest. It was Sony, but it's actually Capcom, because Capcom put him in the main, like, cover art. And I think they put him in the cover art because they were worried about the whole, like, this main character sucks situation. They want to be like, oh, well, there's more. You'll play other people, or at least see other people. Yeah, because I still have my Jack Go box. Ugh. We're making good time. I knew these were going to be simple. I wasn't super worried. I was more angry that we're doing it now rather than, like, earlier. But maybe not. I feel like most of the viewership we get is usually right around now. What else happened, though, in the data slate? Was there anything, like, absolutely crazy? Because I checked my stuff. I didn't really care about a lot of other people's stuff. I saw that the spoiler point cost went up. That's going to change nothing about the reason why it works. Like, the detachment that really works in, the points gain means that there's going to be, like, one more squad of cultists not at full scale. That's all that means. It changes nothing. But I think next tournament I'm biting the bullet, and I am going to use Scarab Occult Terminators. We'll do it. I'll go caissons, I'll go terms. I didn't want to. But we really don't have the staying power. And I feel like I've been to enough tournaments where people just, especially locally, where people just spam, like, the best statted broken unit in their army. And call it a day. No interesting combos. No odd approaches to the gameplay methodology. No, no, no. How many Victrixes can I fit in this one army? Bam. Mission accomplished. But that's probably it for me, though, for Game Awards. Like, end of the day, I'm going to be hyped for any game company that really, like, straight up pushes the level of immersion and stuff that they can in games. I don't know if you're familiar. There's a game that's being worked on that might come to, like, mainline places to purchase it at some point, called Vintage Story. I've been watching people play it, and it is interesting. It's kind of crazy how just abjectly in-depth it is. It's sort of a survival game. It involves demons. Like, the idea is demons came to Earth on, like, a falling star or something, and then knocked humanity back to the Stone Age, sort of the way they put it. And it's just a bunch of people who appear on the server and then try and see how far into the ages they can go. And you can kind of set rules for the servers that you get that are like, you have one life and that's it. Like, if you die, you die. And there's seasonal changes. So, like, there's times of famine that you have to deal with. Dude, it's crazy. And changing between ages also creates, like, way more automation and stuff. So it goes from, like, getting stone is hard to all of a sudden, like, you're just fine. You're just way too much stuff. Alright, I'm probably going to need a piece of paper for this next part so I can block some area off. I'm familiar with Fear and Loathing. But it's not that. It's like the in-depthness of it. Like, you have to actually, like, build pottery. There's, like, subdivision, pixel, or voxel concepts where you're able to create extremely complex shapes. And those shapes actually have to do with, like, things you can build. Like, they'll convert to tools or storage based on the shapes you make. And I'm watching them get to winter. And, like, I'm watching a few people who don't know the mechanics in the game, which is kind of funny. And then occasionally I watch the other people who sort of know the mechanics. Because there's a situation where if you're in a room and there's, like, enough shadow in an area in your room, that's where demons can spawn at night because they come from the shadows. So there's people right now who didn't completely finish their bases before winter who are like, we're going to starve to death. And then they only have like a couple torches in a couple corners. And they'll just be in there like, we got to get these things together, man, or we're going to die. And then they start hearing noises behind them. It's like, oh, dude. Okay. Question is, how do we do this? We can either do it in like one fell swoop, or we can do this one first because he looks like I did a good enough job that it shouldn't be a big issue. And then fix up the other one. Just got to hit it from the right angles. Interested to try going back into Thousand Suns. I just need to keep the mentality of being okay with units that are considered strong. I have this downside when I play games like 40k where I'm like, well, what's the weak unit? I want to make it like useful. That's a bad idea half the time. Like sometimes it can be cool. But half the time, you're just like, oh, man, you brought a tank to the game. I can't win. You're just going to go sit it in mid. I'm not going to be able to take mid. GG, I guess. It's a good start, right, Peacock? It's a good beginning point. We're not going to be going too much farther with these. I wanted these DPs to be quick. Quick and effective. Just some rapid action paint here and there. Nothing crazy. But this way I have my triple winged DPs. Because I kind of feel like they're trying to push everything chaos towards Demon Princes. I mean, for Christ's sake, the Death Guard Demon Prince is T12? Are you kidding me? Thing is tougher than some knights. The Thousand Sun one gets the 6-inch deep strike. The frickin' Emperor's Children one gets charge mortals. I think the Corn Berserker one's pretty good, and the Chaos Spacer one's okay. But like, I feel like Games Workshop straight up like, how do we get people to buy out our Demon Princes? How do we do that? How do we make these fools buy into Demon Princes being good? Alright, this one we need to kind of like tape off or something. Give that a second to dry. Once we finish these, the key thing we need to do to actually paint them before gluing the components on. These bracers here are going to be painted black and then gold on the component that is armor. And then we're going to do purple and white on the actual segmentation. And then we're basically done. Well, done except for the basing. Really though, there wasn't anything too crazy in the balanced data slate, I guess. I thought I heard something about Drakari. I think you can, there was something about being able to split people into Venoms. Oh, and then Aldari are gonna have issues with aspect spam, I guess, was the big change for them. Which is why that one guy aspect spammed at the tournament. I guess someone from GW or something told him about it. I gotta remember to bring over Aaron's kill team as well. All right. Baseline DPs complete. Airbrush off. There we go. Okay. Glove off. And like I said, core thing we're about to do now. Black paint on the bracers. I love these little milliput stones. They work out. Because this was the only armor component that you can't glue on after the fact. The Morghast are really cool models. What's up, Francois? Tourney was about what I expected. I didn't hold out and take my... I didn't hold out and take my... oh, God. My Chaos Knights, like the people I know kept telling me to do. I went back to my Emperor's Children, specifically the Carnival list I usually run. Because I felt like my Emperor's, or my Knights were about where kind of my Emperor's Children were and whether or not they were going to win or lose. So it almost didn't matter. Like which one I took. I wasn't going to do super well. I was expecting to go 0-3 because, again, local area, very good players. Some of the best in the world. But I actually went 1-2 with my Carnival. It was fun, though. I won the best painted. So I actually have a really big 3D printed Power Mall now. I don't have a place to put it. So it's sitting on my couch. I bought Sector robots, the Sector robots while I was there. So I got those now. Specifically 4 of them. I picked up, finally... I think 3, 6, 9. I think 9. Yeah. 9 screamers from a person I'd asked like a couple months ago if he had screamers, and he was like, yeah. Finally had our paths cross because he was going to the tournament too. So we got those painted up. 3 away from maximum screamers. We got pretty much all of that painted this week. Like, it was a lot of work, but we did it. And now we're finishing up with these last of the DPs, which would have been done earlier today, but my dad was like, yo, we're gonna be refrigerator repairmen today. And we're gonna repair this gasket on the door of a fridge. Which he assumed was going to be simple. Wrongfully. And I assumed, also wrongfully, that he was going to research it. Like a good bit. But he watched like one video and didn't look any further into it. And the video we watched was of a guy installing the actual factory part as opposed to a OEM part, because they don't make them factory anymore, which means we have to use a part that's very close from another company. And that part doesn't seem to be the right size. It's like a little bit bigger, which means it doesn't hold well. So now we're kind of like trying to figure out what the hell to do. That's been my day. You know, Dataslate comes out. Wanted to do a stream about it. Here it is, but I really wish we were doing it, I guess, a little bit longer and earlier today. Because I got to power through these paint jobs before I got to edit. Because I do not want to fall behind on painting. Thankfully, the theory craft on this paint job is a bit easy. barely a struggle. Alright, get this Vallejo gold going. How goes the Eldari Titan leg? I think you said you put that on hold, right? Something else? Or someone else say they were putting something on hold. Too many of you mofos working on big projects. Oh yeah, you were working on the Black Pearl Spirit Stones. It's always good. I always like doing the gemstone phase on my Thousand Suns. Like taking a minute and basically playing Where's Waldo with all the stone little components on them. Finding weird ones in weird places, like on belts and stuff, and just being like, ah, cool. process for paneling. We actually start with contrast. It's kind of like pre-shading to get into the inner edges. Ah. But yeah, at the tournament, the world's #1 Chaos Knight player was there. I didn't play into him, but I played into his friend. So that was pretty fun. His friend rushed me down on the board with 2 Lance Knights. I got prisoned for like 3 rounds trying to kill him. Took forever. I'm kind of holding out hope, because if we do get another type of tank in Emperor's Children, like if we do get a Defiler, I kind of want to like just have that. I don't want to really do Mauler Fiends as much. Make sure. But yeah, one of us had the sentiment though when we were, because a lot of the people there that wanted to go to the tournament were new to tournament scene. Like they've been around in kind of the club situation, the like group situation that we play games in, but they've never really done like a full-blown tournament. And one of them, who the guy who does tournaments like a lot more than I do, at least, was just like, man, can I find a tournament locally, like a Rogue Trader level tournament that doesn't involve a lot of like the top 3 in their factions? That would be great, please. Just to like try some stuff out. You know, not have to feel like I'm fighting for my life. It was a cool group, though. I was debating hitting up like the diner after with them because that was what they did. They were like, "Yo, we're going to the diner after." But it was straight up midnight night, an hour drive ahead of me. Oh, we gotta wait for them to dry a little bit. The arms are just still way too wet. Oh, this is also Xerus. I'm not supposed to be using Xerus. So I'm wondering why it was looking way too dark. Why didn't you warn me, chat? Should have known. We're completely in sync. Not the band, the thing. Still so wet. Alright, something we do have to do though. Gotta figure out. We gotta shave parts of the armor plate and we have to shave the inside parts of here. Let me make sure which direction the armor plates are supposed to go for the Morghasts. Duh, fuck? Yeah, I decided to stream. Get my day job of trying to fix a gasket. My dad said we weren't going to do it tomorrow. That he's waiting to hear back from the company about whether or not they sent him the wrong part. Which I don't think they did. I just think the part they sent him, just, it's not meant for what we did. I'm shaving some of the paint off the inside components and the parts on the model. That way the glue will actually touch plastic. Oh, Ren. So, what, if anything, do I need to bring? Like, is Jack gonna have the Death Guard to just play? Do I gotta bring his Go box of Gene Stealer cults? I'm probably gonna, I guess, contact Aaron and be like, yo, what do you want to play too? What do you mean, huh? Max said he was going to get there and exchange cash for models. He did suggest I might need to bring it, though. Oh, come on, Glue. You can do it. I don't know if he's still in chat, but he did say it earlier. Why is the glue not... Oh, no. Is the glue... No, it's not. The glue's still super liquidy. Why is it not coming out? Ugh. Every now and then this glue that I purchase decides, hey man, I'm just gonna dry in the neck. And I'm like, cool dog. We'll do it that way. Yeah, because technically I'm bringing a ton of stuff. So I want to see, like, how much stuff I don't have to bring, right? Like... Because it would be cool to know. Yeah, the ability to plan and know stuff. Like, because if I show up and I don't got anything, assuming everything's going to be in place, and then it's not. Do I cry? I should be able to get there kind of early in the day. I'll probably try to aim for like around noon or something. Yeah, they just straight come off. Ugh. Come on, glue. just need a little bit. Please. Super bright. I'm opening this. Boom. Theoretically, okay. I mean, that's better worth. It's better information than where I was like 15 minutes ago. That's all I want. Boom. Work a little bit on that here, because this is a little weird. kind of careful here. There we go. Okay, now we're cutting it close. It's me needing to edit. Alright, so I'll have to figure out what the hell Aaron wants me to bring, or if he's just going to use something you got. Because if he's actually going to show up at 4, I'll probably want something on hand at least. Oh god. Bit much. Hell yeah. let's get the wrist armor painted. Get the basing on, and then we will probably call it there. so close. There it is. So flat white. Dry a little bit. Hell yeah. The mirror image demon princes. Last thing to apply to make them finalized. So we gotta wait for it to dry for a little bit. Which means I probably won't be able to actually finish these till tomorrow. This is golden crackle paste. And we're going to hit this with the mix that I do. Where I kind of get some areas that's like, yo, this is crackle. And then we use the coarse pumice stone for actual, like, desert granular effect. Hell yeah. Alright. Feel like just in time. I was aiming to be finished up by 9 o'clock. So, that has to dry. It'll probably be dry by the time I'm done editing tonight, which means I'll finish up the basing coloring tonight, and then I'll just have to varnish it tomorrow. But it feels good. The two kind of mirror projection spells and the main winged demon prince. That way there's at least some variance in how the army feels, as opposed to everything just being the goddamn same. Well, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chilling. Kind of wish we did this earlier, but I mean, the data slate was like, okay. It did change some cool stuff. Only small things, though, really. Kind of want to try out my Lords of Change, though. I'll take some pictures, and I will post in the Discord. Till next time, guys. Later.